They shoot horses, don't they?
We'll call this meeting to order. First item is roll call. We'll start down here, please.
Jonathan Clore.
Dan Matthews.
Carrie Hudson for Mercer Treat.
Butch Freeman.
Keith Block.
Donna Jackson.
John Wilkerson.
All right. Seeing that we have a quorum, we're going to continue on. Notice that this meeting was properly posted on September 27th of 2024. The next will be the Pledge of Allegiance. Carrie, could we ask you to lead that? Okay, first item is discussion possible action regarding the minutes.
Move the minute.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Slow today. You abstained.
Hmm?
You abstained.
Now, the consent agenda, items 2, 3, 4. Are there any questions on the consent agenda?
Move
Hearing none, do we
consent.
have a motion? Who moved it? Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second on the consent agenda.
If
All in
you'll give-
favor?
I apologize.
Aye.
If you give me just a moment to fix something on the
Okay.
roll call, just a
Okay.
moment, please. I apologize.
Sure. Okay, that's your moment.
Shouldn't say how long of a moment.
Yeah.
Give me 30 seconds.
Are we ready? All right, now do we have, you've got the motion and the second, all right. All in favor? Aye. Now we move into the departmental items, and I think I'm gonna let you do a lot of speaking on this one, Mr. Wilkerson, if you would.
Sure. This is our annual actuary valuation for the pension plan. Mr. Dan Homan's here on item 5 and 6. Item 5 is just a presentation that goes over the report. Item 6 is the actual report. As a reminder, this is where we get our required annual contribution amount for our pension plan.
Thank you. I was just thinking, I guess my 12th or 13th meeting with you guys. So,
Oh,
yeah, time flies when you're having fun. So we have the presentation. All right, let's go into actually page 4, if you wouldn't mind. So first, let's talk about the people who are covered by this plan that's been frozen for a long time. So you can see we still have 1 active employee hanging on. We have 7 people who have left but have a vested benefit and not started receiving yet. 52 retirees and 26 beneficiaries. Compared to what was last year, we're down 4. We had 2 retirees who passed away with no beneficiary, and 2 beneficiaries passed away. So we're down 4 from what we were last year. Next slide, please. This is just showing you graphically the numbers you just saw. The idea here is that green is the retirees. So you can see back in 2015, we had 159 participants in the plan. We're now down to 86. We're about half what we've lost about half over 10 years. Next slide, please. We'll look at some averages for the group as it stands right now. Once again, I said we still have that 1 active. She's been around for 40 and 41.5 years, still hanging on. The term vested, you can see the average age here is about 64.3 with a monthly benefit about $500. Retirees are about 77 on average, and their monthly benefit is $1,240. You'll notice that's been declining, and that's expected because the retirees who are older had to plan for a longer period than the ones who are getting to retire right now. And then the beneficiaries, the average age is 83, and they're getting about $900 a month. Next slide, please. This is the retirees, invested terms, and beneficiaries in 5-year brackets. So you can see We have one young retiree between 50 and 59. Yeah, I know young is a relative term, pardon me. We have one retiree between 55 and 59. But if you go down to the bottom, you see we have two retirees who are 95 plus. So they are actually winning the mortality game from an actuarial perspective. They are bad risk on from our point of view. And you have 7 who are between 90 and 94. Also, if you look on the right-hand side, we have 3 terminated participants with a vested benefit who are over age 65. We have tried to find some of those people, and we can't find them. So the question is, what do you do as a board? Historically, we just keep them on. We try whatever we can. If they ever come back and they say, I was supposed to get a benefit, we've got their record and we'll start paying them. The question at that point, do we give them retroactive payments? Who knows? But unfortunately, you can only do so much. So at this point, I would say of those 7 who have terminated, probably there's only 4 who might start getting the benefits in the near future. The other 3, we can only do so much in tracking them down. Okay? We tried. Go 2 slides, please. Now we're talking about the plan assets. First thing we do on the assets is we have to have an expected rate of return. If you recall, prior to 2018, we used a 5.75% expected rate of return. We know what we had investment-wise. They were not doing that, so we decided in 2018 to go to 2.25. Now, once again, this is just what we expect the assets to earn. And then back in 2021, because of the better investments of what you were investing in, we went from 2.25 to 2.75. And we'll see over the last 5 years, we're actually surpassing that pretty significantly. Next slide, please. Here are your assets. You see it's pretty consistent over the last 4 years, which is good. So right now, around $6.5 million. It's a snapshot in time. So as of July 1, 2024, you were at $6.5 million. Next slide, please. These are the returns. This is based on an actuarial calculation. This is not an investment return. So if you have somebody internally doing rates of return, they're probably different than what we do. The blue line is the annual return. You can see it's been rather choppy. The 5-year average is 3.81%. And the 10-year average is about 3%. So I said we're using 2 3/4 right now. If we wanted to, we could possibly think about increasing that expected rate of return. But remember, the key here is the cash flow into the future. That discount rate or the expected rate of return is just how we discount things back to today's dollars. It doesn't impact the expected total cash flow going out of the plan. So that's just something to think about. Go to the next slide, please. So here we have the contributions, dark green, investment returns, light green, benefit payments, yellow. So the key for this plan is we want to make sure that the sum of the dark green plus the little green exceeds the yellows. And you can see we've been doing that, except last year we fell behind. And if you go to the next slide, it's showing it graphically. The key is we want to keep that green line above 100%, which means we have more coming into the plan than we're paying out. You can see we had many years there back from 2015 to 2019 where we had more going out than coming in. But you've fixed that over the last several years. Next slide, please. All right. Under the GASB rules, I'm sure you hopefully recall, but I know this, I sound like a broken record every year. We have to take the average or whatever we expect between the discount rate mandated under GASB, which is a 20-year municipal bond rate, or the expected rate of return on assets. And the way we do that is if the current assets plus future contributions are, we believe, enough to cover all those future cash flows, we use the expected rate of return. So this year we have, over the same as the last 4 years, the current assets plus expected future contributions do exceed all the cash flows. So we're able to use the expected rate of return, which you will notice Had we used the 20-year municipal bond, which is 3.97, we would have had a higher discount rate, lower liabilities, but that's not a problem. So we're using 2.75 to value the liabilities. Next slide, please. All right, this is that cash flow graph. The blue line is the expected cash flow by year. This assumes everyone dies as expected, retires as expected, those 7 or 4 people, and we saw that one active employee. So assuming everyone does what we expect, which we know won't happen, you can see we expect to pay out between now and when that last person dies off about $19 million. So you're at 6.5, but we know eventually we're going to have to pay out $19 million, and that's what we hope to cover over the next several years in terms of contributions. Any questions on that cash flow? You can see you're going to be above $1 million for the next 4 years going out of the plan for payments to retirees and beneficiaries. Next slide, please. This is just showing you there we go. The blue is the payments that went out, and the green are the assets. So the key is you can see the green is pretty standard. It's been pretty secure, and that blue line keeps coming down. You'll notice a little bit of an increase there between 2021 and 2022. That's because we went to a new mortality table that was issued by the society that assumed people were going to live longer. So because people live longer, liabilities went up slightly. That's why that tick up in 2022. Next slide, please. All right, this is a little busy. So look at the bars first. So the tan is the liabilities. The blue are your assets. And that green line is the funded percentage. The funded percentage is measured on the right-hand side of the graph in percentages there. So you can see you were down in the 20s. They're at 18 and 19, and we're back up above 45%. So we're going in the right direction. We like to see that green line going the way it's going. But once again, your liabilities are almost double what your assets are as of today. We're not talking cash flows, this is liabilities. Next slide, please. All right, now we're talking about the results that you have to put on your books. This is the accounting figures. So once again, we have liabilities of 14 million, assets 6.5. So we have an unfunded liability the county has to put on their balance sheet of $7.5 million for this plan. The expense that they have to recognize for the plan for fiscal 24-25 is $115,000. We'll show on the next slide a graph, but it's been very volatile since GASB 68 came in. You can see your funded percentage is up to 46.1, measured on that 2.75% discount rate. Next slide, please. When they changed the rules for pension plans, they went to this new GASB 68, the expense has gotten out of control. So you can see what it looks like over the last 10 years under the GASB rules. It makes no rhyme or reason. Part of the problem was your plan is basically inactive employees. Under the GASB rules, you're not able to amortize any gains or losses. You recognize them immediately under the GASB rules. So that's what causes that large fluctuation in the annual expense. Once again, this is a liability, or sorry, expense that the county puts on its books for the plan for the fiscal year. Next slide is the cash. So once again, we have almost $14 million in liability, same 6.5 million in assets, same unfunded. So the actuarially determined recommended contribution is about $638,000 for 24-25, based on a 15-year amortization of that unfunded liability, $7.5 million. All right. Here is a historical comparison of your recommended contribution, which is the light green, versus the actual contributions in the blue. And you can see the blue line has exceeded the recommended contribution every year over the last 10 years, which is a good sign. 2022 is the only year it was really close, and I guess 2018. That is the presentation. I think, right? Next slide is, yes, questions.
Thank you, Mr. Holman. Okay, are there questions? Ask them now.
I know that we've kind of done some different things with the retirees account and through some work with the treasurer's office, we're getting a little bit higher rate of return on our investments. And but correct me if I'm wrong, we're getting our principal back a third, but the rate is what? It's over 6
What is the rate now, Mark?
on judgments.
Judgments.
So we're plus with the regular interest rates going up, and of course they're going to come back down a little bit because of the prime or the discount rate went down last week. Our average should be floating up towards the municipal rate of 4%.
Correct.
And I noticed on your graph it was way above. So if we were to use over another 2 or 3 year period, because we are buying judgments as fast as we can, that graph is going to go earnings wise is going to move.
Correct.
Now, don't have as much cash in there, but it is going to move, and will that reduce our funding requirement based on the increase in the revenue?
Absolutely. There's only two ways to get money into pension plan: contributions and returns. So yes, your future contributions plus your future returns have to close that gap of $19 million in that cash flow chart versus the 6.5 you have right now. So yes, any more return you can get over the years will help reduce any future contributions.
Well, we've also moved money from the other account due to forfeitures in there.
Correct.
To alleviate some of the contribution issue.
Right.
So at the rate we're doing, you were showing that our funded requirement for this year is
638.
638,000.
Right.
And I believe already this year, Mark, John, we moved 3 already. So we're already almost halfway home, plus the additional earnings that the thing is going to make this year. We should squeeze that down to probably another 350, maybe by the end of the year, into this plan year, to meet that requirement, and probably we'll go over that. And of course, those of us who have been on this board a few years, like me, the one thing we want to do is that plan only should have $1 in it when it's all said and done.
Amen.
Because there is no tomorrow once it's fully paid out.
That's correct.
We want
And
to write that last check and close with it.
that's exactly the key. That's why we got to monitor that. That's 14 million unfunded. But yes, the key is we know we have a long way to go before the last person dies off, assuming there's not some sort of plague.
If that
But-
95-year-old turns out to be the last one out of the plan, I want to meet that person.
Well, it's just like anything else. The key is we've got to watch it annually, because if you get those judgments, that's what brought the rate up last year. Was you got judgments last year you put money into from those CDs, and so that's helped tremendously bring that expected rate of return up. Because there were years in those CDs we were getting 1.5%. So that movement from the CDs to those judgments has been a big help.
Yeah.
Mark, you wanted to make a point?
Just like to bring up a couple things, and it all revolves around what the feds are doing with the interest rate. By statute, our judgments pay prime plus 2%. So this year we got 10.5%. Well, they cut the rate
half a point,
half a point, and we all read the newspapers, and they're saying
another quarter.
more cuts, and so that's going to be the yin and the yang. And then also, even like we've got 3.5 million in a money market that we're making 5.25%, and again, that interest rate's going to do it. So we've got a lot of we've done good with the liquidity we have, but if those rates go down, it has other impact. But it's been good this year.
Well, Mark, Mark points out a great point, but as sitting on this board for years, and when we went below 50% several years ago, our big point was to assist the county through the forfeitures to get that back up to that that minimum at least and have a little bit more in case we have a bad year. And based on it. Secondly, you said something about the life expectancy changing back before 2020. But I also understand when I was looking at some stuff from the IRS a few months ago, that the expectancy table, due to the massive amounts of death due to COVID, the life expectancy tables may go the other direction for the first time in like 40 years.
Yeah, there was actually, the IRS actually adjusted their mortality tables for corporate pensions. So we have an adjustment factor, and yes, it went down because of COVID. Society of Actuaries has not issued a new adjustment table to reflect COVID. They wanted to do a little more study versus the IRS. So yes, the anticipation is Society of Actuaries will issue another or an adjustment for the current tables, and that may actually bring mortality rates down somewhat.
Which will also
Reduce.
increase our fund, reduce our requirements.
Yes, increase your funded percentage. You're absolutely correct. We're not seeing much of an impact on COVID on the grand scheme of things, because you have to remember, mortality is based on we lose people. People exit life different ways. And we lost a lot of 70 plus in that COVID experience. So that's where it's going to be adjusted going forward slightly.
Okay, are there any other comments or questions?
Move to accept.
Okay, that was an excellent report, Dan.
Thank
As
you.
always, we appreciate it.
Yes,
So
sir.
don't leave there. I think you're going to be up again next. Okay, we got a motion to accept as presented. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any last questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay.
Sure. Item number 6 is the actual report from Dan, the full 20-page report, and I put this on the agenda to receive, and we use it for our financials. So it's just really, I just a motion to receive this report unless there are any questions.
Move to receive.
Second?
Second.
Got motion and a second to receive. All in favor? Aye. Item number 7, discussion. It's that time of year again to discuss the one-time loan consolidation. Bach, where's BOK?
They're right out there.
Where's BOK? Step up here, please. I believe that we have in our package, do we not? We've got the loan instructions. Yeah, here we go.
Correct.
Okay. All right, John, you want to address this, you together with the BOK?
Sure. Just annually we do this. We allow participants to have multiple loans if they qualify to reduce down to one loan. So this is just the annual time. It'll be through the month of October, in the last day of October, and just a limited handful of people will qualify.
I believe it says the last day of November.
I'm sorry.
We had 2 months on.
Yeah, 2-month window. So October 1st through the end of November, and just a limited amount of people will qualify it. It's really for those people who have the maximum 5 loans where they can consolidate down to one loan.
This package that's in our, and it's the same package then that we're asking our retirees, our employees who want to consolidate, this is the same package that you're asking them to use, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
It'll be the same application and it mirrors previous years.
Okay. Who is it that's providing those?
That'll be me.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. Okay.
That'll be us.
So anyone then who wants to consider a loan consolidation should contact John?
No, I'll send out notifications
Okay.
to all departments, and then I'll post it on our website. And then it'll have instructions on who to contact at BOK to start the process.
But they'll still get the forms from you.
Yeah, we'll email them out tomorrow on the 1st.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You said there was a limited number. How many, when you say limited number that will qualify, can you give me that?
I can.
It's hard to say just because the main proxy for it is their highest outstanding balance in the past year. And so the eligibility is usually the $50,000 IRS limit minus the highest outstanding balance for each person that's interested. And obviously, you know, they would need 2+ loans. Typically, we see the people that are interested have 5 loans and may be looking to take another loan out. In the past, I think last year we had just under 40 consolidations take place.
So way less than you know, last year's a low number. So kind of less and less because they look back for 12 months and the IRS limit's $50,000 for total loan limit, correct?
Yeah,
And so they can't go over that with reloaning. So they do an equation with them and work kind of through this process with employees and see if they qualify one by one.
yeah. 2 years ago, I think it had been a little bit since the consolidation took place and the interest rates were lower. So we saw quite a few more in 2022. And I would expect this year with the interest rates still pretty high, probably will prevent people from doing the consolidation in general.
What you don't know the interest rate yet then, is that correct, or do you?
I think right now it's
10.25 right now.
Whoa,
Did it lower from
I believe it's like 9 or 8.5.
Okay, it's in our packet.
Yeah.
It's in the packet. So it's usually prime is what Bank of Oklahoma follows, and then they adjust it as that changes. So if you'll pull up the packet, it should be listed in there on the second to last page, I think.
that's a little bothersome then that our example uses a cost of your credit at a yearly rate at 3.25%.
Go up a little more. Yeah, that was just an example.
Yeah, we can adjust it because
There it is. So it's 8.5 right now.
yeah, and with the Fed's cut last week, it'll be 8 now.
still cheaper than credit card?
At least you're paying yourself.
You're paying yourself.
Yeah, you're paying yourself, so.
So let me understand the way you guys are gonna do this, is that someone who has, say, $40,000 worth of loans, you're gonna roll them all up into one loan and do a new $40,000 loan, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And they still have 10,000 available, but you're gonna roll up whatever is outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Any other questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve. Thank you very much, BOK, for the presentation. I look forward to the day you finally turn 21. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Discussion possible action regarding the payment in an amount not to exceed $11,900 for the pension valuation report we just received.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve. Dan, this is going a lot smoother than what I anticipated. All in favor? Yeah, aye. Motion passes. And then we also have, the audit has been performed and has been presented to the board, anyway. And then, so now we've got a bill from Johnston and Allsweet.
I'll move to that one. 'Cause I always want to make sure the accountant gets paid.
Do we hear a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to pay the $5,750. All in favor?
It's cheap.
Aye.
I promise
It
you.
is.
Well,
I promise
actually,
you that it's cheap.
all right, the 22-23 financial statement report for the defined benefit retirement plan. We've already heard a lot about the defined benefit. I think it was mentioned 77 checks, I think it is, that we're paying out now on the defined benefit. But anyway, John?
So this is just the annual report that goes along with Dan's report. You know, that he uses some of the financial numbers to create his report. So this is the financial audit of the pension system, all the financials. They also audit our office as well. And so we just stick it on the board's agenda so we have it as as record, and then Dan needs it to complete his report as well. So I have a motion to accept it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to accept the report. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. BOK forfeiture report.
Sure, this is as of the end of August. We have $1,098,000 in the forfeiture account. As a reminder to the board, we moved 300,000 out already as a contribution this fiscal year, kind of earliest we've ever done it. So a required contribution is 638,000. We've already paid 300,000 of that, but we have a little over $1 million right now in the account.
Any comments on that?
Probably sometime in the next few months, we'll might make another hit against that. I'm the one that kind of pushed the 300 back a couple months ago, and I'd like to see where we were on the forfeitures closer to January. And once we do I'd like to put on the agenda in January, moving some more money into the defined benefit plan out of the forfeiture account. I'd like to wait, see where we are in January.
Okay. Any other comments? If not, do we have a motion to receive the report?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second to receive as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the next item is our schedule. That's also in our packet, but anyway, it's the schedule for the proposed meeting dates for next fiscal year. Is there anything, Carrie, that we need to be aware of
No.
on this?
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
They got a motion and a second to approve the schedule. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I won't be here on November 24th. It's my birthday. I'm not coming here on my birthday. On November 24th is my birthday. I'm not going to be here. That's next year.
My wife and I just celebrated our I got to get this right, 57th
Don't say 87.
yeah.
She'll hang you.
57th wedding anniversary Tuesday, and I was still here.
That's a good thing.
Yes, it was.
That's because she made you come.
Did she not tell you she's going to have you stuffed and
Yeah.
put in the corner?
I have heard that. Item number 13. Now we're going into the defined contribution retirement request. And John, again, I'll turn it over to you.
Sure. Number 13 is Diana Elston from the Juvenile Bureau. She qualifies for retirement. Move for the approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
If you could
Aye.
hit your buttons for me, please. Hit your motion button for me, please.
It's not up. Oh, there it is. Got it.
Thank you.
Okay, John?
Sure. Number 14 is for retirement and health benefits for Adebola Atoki out of the jail. She qualifies for retirement, so I move it.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on item 14. All in favor? Aye.
Number 15 is District 3, Mr. John Harper. He qualifies for retirement. I make a motion to approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Number 16 is one of our surviving spouses on our pension plan. So this is for Linda Neuschwander, and I just move for approval.
Second.
Well, this one goes back a ways. All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number 17 is for Sharon McKenzie. She works for the sheriff's. She qualifies for retirement, and I move her application.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Number 18 is for Kelly Thomas. She worked for the BOCC department. She qualifies for retirement.
You move? I'll move it.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Last one,
Got a bunch of them tonight.
number 19, Charles Laughlin out of the Public Defender's Office. He qualifies for retirement. I'll go ahead and move this one.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, I think we're through with all of our voting at this point. Citizens' participation. Are there any citizens who would like to address the board? Had no one sign up, seeing none, hearing none, seeing none, hearing none. Move on, board comments. John?
No, thank you.
No, thanks.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate it every year.
12 years, did you say? Golly,
Time flies when you're having fun.
I promise you. I have nothing else.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Thank you all very much.
New business.
All right, I think I'll have to turn my page here, but I think we're at the point where we adjourn.
Move to
Oh,
adjourn.
New business, I'm sorry. Is there any new business that needs to
No.
come?
Move
All
to-
right, hearing none,
move
now
to
you can
adjourn.
adjourn. Second? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you again.
We appreciate it. Thank you for coming.